that, like, there's no real point in just doing a trade just to do a trade if your season's over. Like if we like, and that's kind of why I feel like we need to we need to start winning some games. Like because if we don't, then like eventually you reach a point where it's like, all right, might as well just write off the season. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, because it's gonna take a huge like player trade just to really turn our season around. I mean, right now we can't like trading for like your standard good role player. No, too late for that. Too late. If we were gonna do something like that, we should have done it in the beginning of the season. Because
Yeah,
right now, I agree with you. Well, you've been saying this all season. It's not there's not a trade out there that's going to come and save our season per se.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? Unless it is a caliber of like KD or something like that, something crazy. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But even with that, you have an injury. I don't want to say injury prone AD, but it's starting to get like that. You know what I mean? It's an injury concern AD, I should say. You have an aging LeBron. I don't. I don't know. I'm to the point now where like, and this as crazy as this sounds, we should really look at blowing the team up, like completely. I mean, once we can, you know what I mean. We can't do
A
it
lot
right
of people
now
want that.
completely, but I'm not, because I don't know if this roster has not proven that they could get it done.
Yeah.
Like they're not playing hard games. They're not playing impossible opponents to beat. You know what I mean? Like they're not playing like warrior type caliber like teams every single game. You know what I mean? I just
Well, I mean, we're gonna see this next because this next stretch, even without LeBron, this next stretch is supposed to be easy for us. Like we should be rattling off some wins here. I mean, we play the Spurs 3 times, play the Kings tonight. Like we haven't played an under 500 team. Like I know the Warriors are under 500 right now, but they
yeah,
weren't opening night. You know what I mean? They were. This is before, and they looked good the first couple games. It was like
yeah,
this back half they looked bad. We got them at like the worst time. So outside of that, like we haven't played like any like even middle of the pack teams. Like we've played Utah twice, who they have the best record in the West still, and are just doing nothing but beating playoff teams and beating
yeah.
teams that they're like they look really good. We've played the Cavs, we played Denver twice, like, and we beat them. We beat the Pelicans. Like we've beaten two good teams,
Yeah.
but like it's just we haven't had an opportunity to like because a lot of people are like I've seen a lot of people think that we're worse or just as bad this year as we were last year, and I still don't buy it because last year we had like the second or third easiest schedule of any team like last year. I mean, you think about it, like the first like 15 games of the season were nothing but like under 500 teams outside of like a couple here and there. For the most
Yeah.
part, we had one of the easiest schedules of any teams last season, and we were 5-5 at this point in the juncture,
Yeah.
right? And so this time, at least we're playing. I think we'll beat the Spurs at least 2 times. We play them like 3 times in like 5 days. I think we should beat them at least twice, even without LeBron. So if we do that, there's 4 wins. Like the problem is we're not staying afloat, and
No.
that's the problem. Like we need to get afloat to where we can ride it out until we can find a good trade because there's already reports that like the organization is split on if they should make a deal or if they shouldn't. A lot of people, half of like the people in the organization don't believe that LeBron and AD are it anymore, and that we should rebuild and save our picks and save our assets. And then the other half thinks that like if we put the right guys around them, we could still win and da 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 da.
Yeah.
And but that's not a good sign. Like if that's true, again, it's just reports. Like you never really know what's accurate or not. But if that is
Yeah.
true, that's not good. Because then
No.
that means like what, like I said, what's going to happen is we're going to be like 2-15 or something like that, or 4-15, and they're just going to say there's no point in doing anything because we would literally have to at that point we'd have to win like 15 to 20 straight games just
Yeah.
to even have a chance to get into the play in. And I mean, some circumstances happen, you get a couple things that fall your way. I mean, like I said, I mean, if you were able to do a deal for like the Spurs, do the Spurs deal, and then like let's say you go get you know Josh Richardson and Jakob Pertl, right? And
Yeah.
then you go and maybe move Russell Westbrook to the Hornets, go get like a Terry Rozier, Gordon Hayward, and now you got like 4 or 5 guys to really kind of turn your season around. Maybe then, but you got to keep in mind too is that like guys have to gel together. Guys have
Yeah,
to like learn each other. Granted,
yeah,
it's easier when it's a bunch of role guys than it is when it's like a bunch of stars. Like so, like for example, like it'll probably be harder for Kyrie to come and or like
yeah,
let's say we trade for like DeMar DeRozan or something like that, right? Like it would be harder for him to figure it out with all the stars
yeah,
than like Josh Richardson, Jakob Poeltl, like guys like that because they're already like second, third, fourth, fifth options. Where
yeah,
it's just a completely different type of situation where you're going from like first or second option to like now third option. Like
yeah.
it's a big adjustment plus LeBron and stuff. So like all of that has to be taken into account too. Just
Not to mention, let's talk about our defense. We have the defense that we have. Yeah, we've slipped in the last few games, but we have the defense that we have right now because of the roster that we have. So it's like, you know what I mean? I feel like if you just take that, and like you said the other night, a large part of it is because of AD. But if you just take that and blow that up completely, that is one of the downsides of it. You know what I mean? You start replacing players, and I'm not talking about the guys like I don't know, like Gabriel, like not like you know what I mean? Because like his
like the role
production
guys.
gets weird. Yeah, I'm not necessarily talking about the role guys because their production will be replaced. But that's yeah, that's tough. Like you said, it does take chemistry. You know what I mean? You have to kind of start from ground zero, if you will. And we should honestly come out against the Kings, and we should be able to beat the Kings. I don't
If we
understand
if
like
we have Anthony Davis tonight, Russ and Anthony Davis should be enough to beat the Kings. Like so,
yeah,
we should,
alone.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
we should
really.
be able to beat the Kings today. Um, and
Because Russ and Anthony Davis were almost enough to be whatever team we just played when LeBron wasn't in. But
oh,
like,
yeah, Utah.
yeah,
Yeah. The thing is though too is that like also speaking of LeBron or Russell Westbrook, Russell Westbrook and Anthony Davis are actually one of like the best duos in the league, statistically speaking. They're up there. Like the pick and roll between those two are incredible. Actually, LeBron and Anthony Davis together are terrible this season, and it's a lot of it is just like, and I was explaining this on one of
they
my
were
live.
good the bubble year, but
Yeah, well, it's just no. The problem is LeBron isn't hitting the pick and roll hard enough. So like
yeah,
you already have a disadvantage when you don't have a small to do the pick and roll because like when you're doing LeBron and Davis pick and roll,
yeah,
usually a big is guarding LeBron and a big is guarding Davis. It might be slight size, but it's not like somebody 6 foot, somebody 7 foot, right?
yeah,
So you already have a disadvantage on that pick and roll because now they
yeah.
can just switch. Like
Well,
so
yeah,
whoever's guarding Anthony Davis can now switch and guard LeBron because it's a big and a big. But usually what happens is on that pick and roll, when
yeah,
Davis comes to pick, you come around, you're supposed to hit that corner, hit that turnaround. And the
yeah,
problem is LeBron isn't hitting that turnaround. The reason Russ and AD are looking so great and why you see every time Russ and AD run that pick and roll, it's a bucket because Russ hits that. So he's coming, AD sets the pick, Russ comes around and he hits attacking to the basket. So now the defender either has to go and roll with Anthony Davis. So then
yeah,
Russ has got an easy layup, or
exactly.
they have to come out and help and defend Russ, and then Russ is able to just lob it up. And then that's why you keep seeing Anthony Davis just getting these easy dunks, right?
Yeah,
And so, like, that is something that I think will be beneficial that we should see today. A lot of Russ and Davis. Russ and Davis are really good operating in that two-man game.
yeah.
And LeBron isn't, which is surprising because LeBron's had more time to play with Anthony Davis. Him and
Well, he
Anthony
isn't
Davis.
right now. Like
Yeah, it's just because he's not.
historically and statistically, he has been, but not like
Yeah,
at the moment. Like
and it's because he's not hitting that pick and roll. He's not attacking and being aggressive off of the turn. Rather, where Russ is just downhill constantly, right?
well, yeah, that's I mean that's Russ. He's always aggressive, always gonna look
Yeah,
to attack.
but that's what you need in that position. So I
Yeah.
think that really helps too. And that's kind of why, like, I even made a video today over on, as it stands Lakers. And I was talking about we should really go take a look at Hassan Whiteside because I think with him, one, you can have AD run the four, but with him, you can operate a lot of the same plays with Whiteside that you can with Anthony Davis because a lot of that, like you could have Whiteside set those same screens, and then with Russ and LeBron hitting hard, or when Schroeder comes back, do the same thing with Schroeder because Schroeder will hit those turns hard. So you could
Yeah.
have Schroeder and Westbrook hit those turns, and you're going to get a ton of easy lobs to Whiteside. Not just that,
Yeah.
but you get rebounding and shot blocking. Like the Lakers need to do something.
Yeah.
And I
But
just
even
think
if it
like,
is just like changing up the game, like you said, like focus on
exactly.
what's working right now. If the pick and roll with AD and Russ are working, let's do that. Let's stick
Yeah,
to that.
the problem
And
is you can
it
only
is. It
do
is.
it. The problem is you can only do it so much for teams just go, okay,
Well, no,
like
of course. I'm not saying like
Russ
run
is
the
looking
pick and
for a
roll
lot.
every play. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, of
like
course. Like teams are just gonna build a defensive scheme just to stop it. But
yeah,
like,
just to stop that. Like, but I mean, in general, it's just you know, and these are like the little things that most people don't recognize or pay attention to through the scope of the games. A lot of people see like LeBron, like, oh, LeBron got 30, 20, and 20. He's great. He needs help, but it's like,
yeah,
yes, he's putting up great stats, but a lot of the important things that LeBron has always done, he's not doing this year, and it's hurting us. Like, and like I said, it's not his like skill set. It's just him. It's the IQ plays. Like
yeah,
LeBron knows when I go off of that screen, I need to attack that hard, and he's not. LeBron knows I shouldn't hold the ball for 40 seconds and shoot and just
yeah.
jack the
No,
three. Like a lot of that stuff is a problem. LeBron, I will say though, did look much better last game before he got hurt, of course, and his shot started to fall.
yeah,
So hopefully, whenever he comes back, hopefully that continues and that continues to be a trend. Because if that does, then that could be huge for the Lakers because the Lakers really need multiple guys that could spread the floor and
yeah,
shoot, and that'll open up more for LeBron because now teams got to play more tight, and LeBron's just so big and strong and fast and athletic that
yeah.
he's just gonna blow by you, which he's already doing, but it just makes it so much easier when I have to defend you up tight because I can't